Hi, I'm Mike Bain from Christian Voice New Zealand. On January 27, 1945, Soviet troops liberated Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest Nazi death camp. It's estimated that at least 1.3 million people were deported to Auschwitz during 1940 and 1945. Of those, approximately 1.1 million were murdered. Just 10 days before the liberation, though, the Nazis gave the order that all remaining prisoners be killed. As Soviet troops approached, camp inmates were forced on death marches. About 15,000 died in that evacuation. Those who survived the marches were transported to other camps. The Soviets liberated about 7,000 sick and dying inmates at Auschwitz as well. To suggest the Nazis only killed 6 million Jews is understating the enormity of the genocide. In fairness, it would be more accurate to acknowledge an additional 5 million people made up from groups like the Gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals and many others. It would be correct to accept a figure of 11 million Jews, and others would be more accurately describe the extent of the killing. The annual commemoration of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day on January 27 is an initiative of the State of Israel at the United Nations. Resolution 60/7 was passed in November 2005, and this is the day that now serves as an international warning to the dangers of genocide. The 60/7 resolution states the Holocaust, which resulted in the murder of 1/3 of Jewish people, along with countless members of other minorities, will forever be a warning to all the people of the dangers of hatred, bigotry, racism and prejudice. James 4:17 says, "To one who knows the right thing to do and does not do it, to him it is sin." Jewish Holocaust survivors and their children are painfully aware of those who stood by and did nothing. We must never forget those who suffered during that time. All genocides, including the Holocaust, can only take root when the local population allows such persecution to take hold. Even though some supported and even facilitated policies of the persecution, most of the people stood by quietly, not objecting in any way, afraid to speak out. At worst, were simply indifferent to what was happening to their fellow man. Holocaust survivor and international author Elie Wiesel, in his 1986 Nobel Prize acceptance speech, revealed the powerful part that bystanders played. He said, "I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endured suffering and humiliation. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented." This is a day for everyone to pause and remember the millions whose lives have changed and been taken from them, or changed beyond recognition. This includes not only the victims of the Holocaust and the Nazi persecution, but in subsequent genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia, Darfur, Myanmar and other countries. It is a day to honour the survivors of those catastrophes and to learn from what they experienced to better inform our own lives today. This is a day for learning the lessons of the past and for realising that genocide does not just happen. It is the result of a process that occurs over time when growing racism, discrimination and hatred are left unchallenged and unchecked. Moreover, it's a day for each of us to check our own heart for passivity in the face of hatred. You know, Jesus said in John 9:41, "If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin. But now that you claim you can see, your guilt remains." If we claim to follow Jesus the Messiah and see his truth that others don't see, we then have a responsibility to not stand by, but to reach out with love, hope and compassion, just as Jesus would do. Discrimination has not ended, nor has the use of language of hatred towards the Jewish nation. Today, the United Nations is once again standing by and doing nothing while Israel fights for its survival. It's vastly outnumbered by those who hate her. But there is one advantage that has consistently and miraculously tipped the scales in favour of Israel and always will. The Jewish nation, although small and outnumbered, has a distinct advantage. God is on his side. In Isaiah 40 verse 2, we read that, "Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her hard service has been completed, that a sin has been paid for, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins."
Most of the Jews who were brought here came by cattle cart.
And then began selection.
Who lives and who dies.
Exactly.
In my particular case, my grandparents died here.
Probably they were driven right away to God's chamber. People who walked in, they really believed they were in shower room.
So they thought maybe they were going to get a shower, but instead,
that was the gas chamber.